Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is The Best Life and I am Donna E. Knight, and I am doing part 2 of my video that was from Life Isn't a Fairy Tale. And in that video I talked about 3 things that you have to do to kind of make your life what you want it to be. And the 3 things that I talked about having a plan, being motivated, and being resilient. So those were the 3 things that I talked about. So I'm coming back with part 2 so that I can dig in deeper with the plan part. I really want to break down exactly what I mean when I say having a plan. And I want to dig deeper as into why I say life isn't a fairy tale. That sounds harsh. It sounds so harsh to say life isn't a fairy tale. But I wanted to do a series on that because I believe, honestly, that a lot of people are lazy. And people don't get the results that they want in life because they're lazy. And they have a lot of self-doubt. And they question themselves. So that's why I wanted to do this series to say, look, you got to wake up. Life isn't a fairy tale. You can have whatever you want, but if you're not willing to work for it, you're not going to get the results you want. So this is part 2, and in this part, I'm explicitly talking about a plan. You may have a question of, how do I develop a plan? How do I get a plan? What is a plan? What's the purpose of a plan? And all those things. So I wanted to answer those questions. Now, this is just something that is a guide. This is not a quick fix to having or producing the results that you want in anything. This is just a guide, and this is just something to give you a thought, to get your thoughts flowing and to get your creative juices flowing. That's really what I want to do. I want to let people know that if you apply certain principles and certain concepts, you can get the results that you want from anything. Okay, so first of all, plan. What is a plan? Remember in the last video I told you guys and I asked you the question, what do you want? So that's essentially what your plan is. Your plan is your outline of what you're going to do to get to the result that you want. So this applies in anything. So let's just say your plan is to buy a home and you need to have a 750 credit score. So you got to have a plan to get there. So the first thing you need to do is say, what goal do I want? So the goal is you want to buy a home. So now you got to come up with a plan. How am I going to get there? What steps am I going to take to produce this result that I want? So that's all a plan is. It's just the steps that you're going to commit to take to get to that end result that you want. But now here's the tricky part that comes in. The word commit. Some people have a real hard time with commitment. And if you have a hard time with commitment, you're going to have a hard time achieving success. Because commitment involves and entails so many things. One thing commitment entails sacrifice. It entails a person saying, okay, look, I know this is what I want to do. It doesn't feel good today, but I got to do it anyway. That's what commitment is. So you can't accomplish anything that you want if you're not going to make the sacrifice to get there. So first thing, you know what you want. You come up with your steps, your 1, 2, 3 steps of how you're going to get there. Then you got to commit to your 1, 2, 3 steps. You got to commit to it. And know this, any deviation you make from your 1, 2, 3, it is your fault. And now you got to start over. So now you're going to start experiencing setbacks. So to alleviate all of that, just go all the way in with your commitment. Just say, this is what I'm going to do. I've made up my mind. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care what my neighbor is doing. I don't care what the person down the street is doing. I don't care what the people at church are doing. This plan may not work for them, but this is the plan that works for me. And I'm going to stick to it. So, okay. How do you come up with those steps? How do you come up with the steps? How are you going to get that 750 credit score? How are you going to get your bachelor's degree? How are you going to do it? What you got to do? You got to study. You got to start reading. You got to start researching. You got to start looking at other people who have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish, using them kind of as a model. You've got to study to develop your plan, because nobody knows everything. So you've got to start studying. You got to start researching. You got to watch some YouTube videos where people can tell you, hey, this is how you get your credit score fixed. And you take all this information and all this data that you gather and you study it. You meditate on it. You let it manifest in you. All the information, you think when you're just soaking up information, you think nothing's going to come of the information. But when you start reading things and you start studying things, your subconscious mind is working on that stuff. And you want me to show you how that is true. How you know that your subconscious mind is studying and realizing what you're doing subconsciously, you will dream about it. That's your subconscious mind trying to manifest what you're studying. You'll say, oh my God, I'm sitting here. I dreamed I was sitting in a classroom, and you're not even in school. But maybe you've been reading a book about it or doing something, watching a video about it. You've been listening to it, and your subconscious mind is trying to work it out. So what you've got to do is be in tune with what your subconscious mind and what your spirit is trying to lead and pull you to do. Sometimes we get caught up in what everyone else around us is doing, and it pulls us away from our natural instinct to go in another direction. You hang around crazy people, then you start acting crazy. So when you hang around people that are not trying to go in the direction that you're trying to go in, it takes you off balance. It takes you off course. So you got to be careful. When you get serious about your future, when you get serious about a goal, when you get serious about that stuff, you got to be careful who you're hanging around. You may have to hurt some people's feelings to move forward on your path to your destiny. Because if that person is not aligning with what you're feeding your spirit, they're going to be a hindrance. And they're going to, guess what? Stop you from being committed. So let's say you have committed to being a vegan. Now, these are just examples. Now, you set your own plan. I can't set your plan for you now. But let's say you committed to being a vegan, and you're slowly trying to work meat out of your diet. But if you're going out all the time with friends or with family who are bombarding meat around you all the time, I don't think your vegan lifestyle is going to work. Because remember, you're new. Let's say you studied all the vegan websites, and you've read and you've done your books and you've studied and you have come up with a plan that's suitable for you. Because remember, you got to gather the information. You got to gather it, and then you got to digest it to see what part of the information is going to work for you. You can't just wake up tomorrow. Like, I can't wake up tomorrow and say, all right, today is the day. I'm going to go vegan. You can't do that. You got to say vegan is the goal, and here's the steps I'm going to take to get there. So you're hanging around the people who eat meat all the time. Next thing you know, your 1, 2, 3 commitment plan we just talked about earlier, it's gone out the door. Because they're looking at you like, you want some chicken. You want some pork. You want this. Not encourage. How people, when you set a goal for yourself that they can't do, they decide they're going to tear you down and make you feel bad and make you feel like what you're doing, you really can't do. So when you start getting that vibe from any individual, it's time to let that individual go. Because anything that you have found worthwhile to work on and try to improve, and your spirit is telling you this is what you need to do, and somebody is being negative toward that, you can't allow that person to enter into your space. You've got to stay the course. You've got to stay focused. Okay, so I got off just a little bit. Now, sometimes, you just have to get off just a little bit. All right, so we were talking about commitment, and we were talking about you decided you're going to be a vegan. You've come up with your goal. You got your plan. You've done your research. You're being committed. So the next thing that you got to learn, don't take things personal. So you go into a restaurant. Again, this is just an example. I am not a vegan, by the way. Clearly an example. Don't take things personal. You go into a restaurant. The restaurant doesn't have a vegan menu. You know, you can't flip out because the people don't have a vegan menu. It's not personal. This is your journey. You know, this is your journey that you're taking for you. Don't expect other people to jump on board with your journey. Don't expect them to approve your journey. It's your journey. So that's in anything. You know, in a relationship, when you set out what you're going to do in your relationship and you know what you want, and sometimes things you don't exactly get your way that particular day, it's not personal. So don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. Emotions can oftentimes hinder you from getting to your level of success, because that emotion that you're wearing on your sleeve, that everything is personal and you're trying to personally attack me, that attitude develops into this envelope of negativity that people don't want to be around. So while you're on your journey, just enjoy it. You know, anything bad or negative that happens, kind of just take it as a grain of salt or take it as a lesson. But you can't take everything that happens negatively. You can't take it personal on your journey. Okay, the next thing. This is the great thing about having a plan for your goal. Whatever your goal is, the great thing is you can tweak and change your plan whenever you need to. It's your plan. As long as you don't step off the bandwagon and lose every piece of commitment that you had, as long as you haven't lost that, but you need to make some tweaks and make some adjustments, you are free to do that. Because remember, you are a developing human being. You know, every day you're changing. Every day you're changing. So while you're working your plan, you may have to make some changes. It's not the end of the world. It is okay. It's okay to adjust your plan as you go along. I just want you to get a plan and work your plan. If you need to make changes, make your changes. Okay, so we went over plan. This is something that I hope that you guys find really helpful. Just to recap what we talked about. We talked about what a plan is. Okay. Your plan is your outline. Your plan is your study guide. So you got your goal at the top and your 1, 2, 3, 4 under your goal. Those 1, 2, 3, 4s are your plan. Your plan to your goal. Now, in life, to get to the destiny and the success, so every goal that you achieve is success, right? So if you're one of those people now that's gotten their bachelor's degree, or you gotten your master's degree, but so-and-so down the street just got her PhD, that is none of your business. Your goal was to get your master's and you got it. That is a success. Don't ever minimize any time you reach a goal. Don't ever minimize that success. You are a success in that. The thing to achieving that destiny is not stopping at that goal. Once you reach that goal, it's time to set a new goal. Because remember, we're living our life for God. Okay? God is personally experiencing life through us. Now, hello? Isn't that amazing to know that what we're doing every day, He is experiencing it through us? Don't you want God to have like the best experience possible? He is counting on you to make this life work. He's counting on you. He's not going to do it for you, but He's counting on you to have the greatest life possible. He wants that for you. So every day you wake up, we ain't got time to pout and cry and be mad and be sad. We don't have time. You know, God is counting on us to come through with this thing, okay? Because when you were put in your mother's womb, when you were just a figment in outer space, in the heavens, He had a plan, a clear plan for your spiritual person. And he placed it inside of you. And it's your job to discover what that plan is. That's your job in life. That's your job. Your job is to discover why God put you here. And how are you going to discover it? How are you going to get there? You're going to get there by setting these incremental goals. Just start setting incremental goals and keep reaching. Huh, got that goal, done. Next thing, next goal. Huh, got that done, done. Next thing. And each step up that ladder of your goals, you're going to get closer to finding out why God put you here. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I clearly remember when I was pregnant with my daughter. I clearly remember laying in bed. And I don't know if I was asleep or not. I really can't tell. It felt like I was asleep, but I don't think I was asleep. But it was just a clear picture or dream of what I needed to do, which was Shades of Elegance. It was very clear. The name was very clear. It was all very clear. So I'm telling you, as you keep working your plan and you pray and you meditate, God is going to reveal to you in increments. He can't give it to y'all at one time because y'all remember we can't handle that kind of stuff. Like us earthly people, we can't handle God shooting everything to us at one time. We would lose our mind. So he gives it to us in increments that we can handle. But he doesn't give it to you until you're ready. So if you're not seeing or feeling or developing that path and you're like, oh, my life, it feels so useless. I don't know what I'm here for. That's not God's fault. That's your fault. You're not digging deep and you're not doing the work. Okay, so look, guys, I am just going on and on and on. It's been 16 minutes. I did not mean to carry on that long, but I'm just so intense and so bent on, everyone.